Coming up, we're following up last week's conversation about freezing hot water pipes with a lesson on what pipes to actually insulate in your home to protect them from freezing. Man, that's a long explanation. You know what else we have coming up? We have are there steps on your front porch settling? Well, who do you call for that? We've had that question come up on recent inspections. Plus, a couple in Idaho is renovating, and they make a discovery that's rather interesting. I guess you could say it's a big hit. We'll cover that on the news desk. Coming up in 1 minute on the Home Pros Radio Show.
The Home Pros Radio Show. Brought to you by Prime Lending. Home loans made simple. Welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show, the premier resource for the well-informed homeowner. With over 30 years of combined home inspection and renovation experience, your hosts, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips, help you stay on top of your home improvement and home maintenance needs. Visit homeprosradio.com to access the trusted product and service providers that are a part of our Home Pros network. Find the Home Pros Radio Show on Facebook and Twitter for regular show updates and additional information on the topics covered on our show. To join the conversation, call 248-HOME-PROS. And now, your Home Pros, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips.
And welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
This is your source for the advice, tips, and tricks that every homeowner needs to make sure your home is in the best shape possible. Glad you're with us this week as we broadcast from the Prime Lending Studio. And we've got a lot in store. It's still chilly cold everywhere.
Yes.
And it's miserable.
Yep.
I hate going outside. I don't know how we're in South Carolina. I don't know how inspectors up north get, especially the ones in like South Dakota, can handle it. I guess you just spend your free time giving out cold comments, right? That's a tongue-in-cheek for a friend of ours from Nachi who, what did he say?
I don't know.
Who watches? Does anybody really watch this? This is after he, misspelled what word?
He said no offense.
No offense. With the S?
With the C.
Oh, okay.
OFFENCE.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then he said he was Canadian, so maybe they spell it different in Canada.
Oh, maybe.
Canada, I don't know.
Maybe. But hey, I'm all open. We're all open to comments and compliments as well as criticisms.
Yeah, compliments,
but
criticism. We'll take it all.
If you have any, but at the same time, while you're criticizing, we'd love to hear some suggestions on anything you would like to cover. Because you know what? I don't care how long we've been in the business as home inspectors. We do not know everything. We don't, do we?
No.
We don't.
But well, the comment wasn't even anything about our home inspection.
It was a reference to a video we did of some of the silly news stories we covered.
It was the robot. Robot. Apparently, he didn't like hearing about escaped robots.
That's okay. We got plenty to talk about today, including this. We're going to share our newest version of our
The Closing Contractor Mystery Sound.
Please listen carefully.
This is a callback, actually. We've done this one before. One of
Yeah.
our first mystery sounds from years ago.
Right.
I figured it'd be fun to bring it back. I wanted to know if you know what that sound is. That's kind of a fun one to kind of listen really closely and see if you can.
Listen close to that.
I'll talk like Joe Biden. Listen here.
The Closing Contractor Mystery Sound.
Please listen carefully.
I wrote the bill. All right, so what is that? Give us a call. Let us know. Here's the number.
It's 248-466-3776.
Yeah, our friend Paul Adwar called. This is the number. It's 466-3776. Wait, say it again. 248. I forgot the area code.
466-3776.
And he called. It's also 248 Home Pro. He called last week and got
the chirping smoke detector.
Chirping smoke detector, thank God, because that was haunting us for a while.
Yes.
So what is this sound? Give us a call at that number. You give you a chance to win our Home Pros Radio Show coffee mug.
Yeah, we got to send it off to him. Actually, I saw some of the coffee mugs in the tailgate trailer.
Good. As soon as we get into that tailgate trailer, which is where we store them, Paul, your mug is on the way. It'll be in like another week or so, but it's coming.
Yep. We're gonna have the tailgate trailer this weekend because we have the Southern Home and Garden Show coming up.
That's right, Southern Home and Garden Show at the Greenville Convention Center.
Yes.
So we got tickets to give away too. So, folks, if you want your tickets, we'll give you these.
Yeah, just let us know you want tickets. Go on the post on the Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Just let us know you want tickets, how many you want, and who you are, and we'll get with you and get them to you somehow.
We'll leave them for you at the front desk. And come see us because we're going to be doing some presentations.
Yep.
I'm going to try to record some videos while we're there too.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some. Yeah, it's this Friday through Sunday. So it's the 18th through the 20th. Friday 10 to 7, Saturday 10 to 7, Sunday 12 to 5. So come out and see us. We'll be right next to the DIY stage, as we always are. They put us right next to the DIY stage.
Mm-hmm.
So
and we're going to be teaching you how to DIY. That's usually when we go up there. We're going to be doing some presentations on things like just the basics of homeowner maintenance and things that every homeowner should know about their homes. So.
Yeah,
we're going to be covering those things. And those are always fun to sit to actually be in front of a live audience and talk about all these issues and see the eyebrows raised. Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, I'd never thought about that.
Wow. Yay, dummy.
Yeah, that happens at my house
dummy.
all the time.
You are.
You're so dumb.
Yeah,
For real.
We won't be like that. No, but yeah, there's,
You'll also be emceeing you'll be doing
the cooking stuff.
the cooking station.
I love that.
So
That's
you'll
fun.
be there for all the cooking station stuff.
Yeah, and probably what we'll try to do is scrounge out one of those folks for maybe a segment on the show.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
And maybe you'll get lucky enough to be in a man in the street interview.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm gonna try to do some of those. Either that, or we're gonna. Shane likes to do videos, right? Record me because I like to go and do man on the street interviews with folks who are attending the show, and Shane likes to sit back and watch me get rejected by people.
It's just funny. No one wants to
Man, just like to answer a few questions.
If they see someone walking up to them with a microphone in their hand, they will turn and walk down the next aisle every time.
I might as well be asking them to for change or something.
I know.
Panhandling or whatever.
Our best luck we've ever had at that is whenever we were close to the ladies over there doing the hand massages and all, putting the lotions on the hands, because the wife would be over there and then the husband would be stuck there just waiting. So
They'll come
he was
over,
right there for us.
They would literally come over and they'll go, "Yeah, I'll talk to you. I got nothing better to do. I'm waiting for her."
I'm waiting on my wife to finish getting
Give
her
me
hand
something.
moisturized.
That's right. We need to do a little coffee station or something.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, we've got that coming up. We're looking forward to the Southern Home and Garden Show. This is put together every year expertly by the Home Builders Association of Greenville. They do such a great job, and we'd have Taylor on the show, who is actually the main guy in actually assembling it, but he's out of town until then. But we're looking forward. We'll have him on the show, maybe live from the event. So. What else we got coming up this week? Oh, I have a couple things to share in the first segment of the show this week. One of those, go ahead and go to your next. Check this video out. This is actually a video that was posted by a comedian friend of mine, Reno Collier.
Oh, God. That was smart.
I love this. It was actually tweeted. I don't know what the original source is. He tweeted it, and I was like, "Oh, this is totally going on the show this week."
Who would think that's a good idea?
And I think his. I'd love to hear your captions on this one. I think I'm going to post it and ask for captions. I think Reno's caption was, "Wait, is the homeowner is the homeowner here?" And Reno's he's a touring comedian, but one of the things that he also does that he doesn't shy away from if he's not busy, like during the pandemic when there was no comedy going on at all, what he does, he would do contract work.
Gotcha.
So he was contracting. He mainly does carpentry work and trim work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just, I knew that when he saw this video and posted it that he could feel their pain. It's like, all right, the idea was they're going to push the chimney. You're going to push the chimney over.
And it's going to slide right down.
And it was going to slide right down into the rest of the debris. Oh, my God.
Instead, it goes right through the sheeting and probably busts a
It had
A
to
rafter.
take a rafter, or
Unless
two.
it fell right between one somehow, but I'm pretty sure it took out a rafter or two.
That is so funny.
And then they stand there and look at it with their hands on their hips, like I didn't see that coming. You know,
That wasn't supposed to do like that.
it was. I didn't the way I envisioned it in my head. I mean, it was supposed to slide right down.
That's so funny.
That is crazy.
That's classic stuff. We're gonna have to share that with some folks. We'll
Poor
put that
guys.
on. I know,
Just
they're
sitting there
like,
with his hands
"Dang."
on his hips, like, why did
It's
that
like
happen?
boom.
Now the hands on the hips there. Look, just
I'm
looking down.
fired.
I gotta go find a job this afternoon.
We got to find some more of these. I like these videos. These are fun. So, home improvement fails. You never go wrong.
That is nice.
Well, that's a masonry chimney for those who can't watch, who are just listening to the podcast. It's a masonry chimney where we here we are laughing, and we didn't really explain to the folks who can't see the video. There's like three guys on top of a house. They're renovating. It looks like maybe even re-roofing the house. Yeah, because there's shingles, and they're pushing on the chimney. There's a chimney they're trying to get rid of, obviously.
Yep.
So they're thinking that they would push it, and the slope of the roof is steep enough where they'll just push the chimney over, and the chimney would just slide off the roof. And it didn't quite do that. It went through the roof.
Yeah,
it went into the roof.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that's not the way to remove a masonry chimney. The next thing that I had to bring up also involves masonry. It has everything to do with our
The photo from the field.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Did you see that?
And that photo from the field is brought
There
to
we
you
go.
by KT Plumbing. For your plumbing needs, give KT Plumbing a call all across the upstate. They can take care of you. So we have this is a real thing that I experienced, and Shane, you came to the rescue because I had a buyer ask, "Who should I call to fix this? Should I get a structural engineer?" Or should I get a masonry expert?
Yes.
And what it is, folks, that can't see it, it's the front steps have settled away from the main stoop of a house. And, I mean, it's a clean break, literally, between the steps and the stoop. The stoop hadn't moved at all, but the steps apparently had not been backfilled before they were put in.
Right. Well, if you look right there, you can see that the steps were built on top of a slab. On top of the slab.
sidewalk.
So I don't know. So there's not necessarily footings under the step. There should be
Yeah.
a footing under the steps because of the amount of weight. But yeah, they were just built on the sidewalk, pretty much. That's what it looks like.
And what you can't see from that picture is nearby there's a roof alley that's been eroding soil away from the front planters for the length of this house. I think the house is about 10, 15 years old, I think. I can't remember. But it was funny because before I noticed the steps, the first thing I noticed, and this is something home inspectors that I always recommend, when you get to a house, look at the big picture.
Yes.
I always like to look, especially on the exteriors, from the macro level and then get down to the teeny tiny micro level stuff. So the thing I noticed from the big picture was when I kind of was just scanning the house, when I got down to the foundation and the front planters, I noticed that, you ever notice where you have like you have soil eroded away from a foundation or somebody's excavating, and you can tell where the original pour of the footers were.
Oh yeah, yeah. You see the
Because-
concrete clumped up at the bottom. Yeah.
Correct. I wish I had that photo to share it. So you could tell that the soil had been removed from the original construction.
I like it when I see it under a house where the footing for the pier has been dug up around because they needed to make it.
They wanted to
ceiling
make
higher.
it deeper.
They
Yeah.
wanted to put a washer down there, so a washer and dryer. So let's just dig out right next to all the footings that are holding the piers that's holding the house up.
Which makes me wish I had another visual for you folks. Is that whenever you have a pier like that, you don't want to dig up right next to them. You want a 45-degree angle coming down of the soil, right, to support that pier. Well, that's what was happening here, and just like you said, Shane, those bricks. I didn't even think about that actually. Those bricks were literally placed. They were normally when I see steps. Going up to a stoop like that, they're not on top of the sidewalk. It's almost as if the concrete guy screwed up.
Like the concrete
and they
guy
poured the
went ahead-
concrete first.
Yeah, and a
And
lot
then
of
they went,
times,
wait, we need steps.
And honestly, when I was building houses, the porch would already be there, and we would build the steps last. But the concrete would get poured even after the steps are built, as far as the sidewalk. They did this backwards here. They came in and poured that sidewalk first and said, okay, let's just throw the steps right there on top of it instead of digging for a footing for the steps.
So there are a number of ways that could have happened, reasons. The concrete guy came before the brick guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's interesting.
But, yeah, it's and you can see that over time that you see the caulk right there just sort of hanging where they had gone back in and caulked it because the water gets down in there. Like we always say, any cracks and I'll make sure to seal them because if not, the water gets in there and it freezes and then it just makes it bigger. It makes everything keep spreading. But yeah, you can see they've attempted and attempted and attempted. Now they're almost beyond what makes sense. I mean, yeah, you could point it, like not use caulk, but use mortar and go back in there and do it. But it's still going to continue to drop. Yeah. So you either. So if it's in a real estate transaction, if I was buying it, I'd say, okay, let's go ahead and fix this because I don't want you to go point it and then me have to replace it in 2 years.
Yeah. So and the other thing I found interesting is that cable that you see there is actually it's a coax cable for TV.
Oh, that wires. Oh, I thought that was caulk. I thought it was where it was coming off.
No,
Oh, okay,
no.
I got you.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying with that. I thought you were talking about up along the upper tread.
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
but
and I'm sure.
That was that was actually like a coax cable that they ran. Here, just stick it in this gap here. There's a good way to get it across.
There's a nice gap. Tuck it in there and then just seal it up.
So who to call? Well, you had a really good answer for that. I feel like.
Yeah, it depends.
Oh, it depends.
No, it's but honestly, it does because however, depending on how bad it is, it's going to determine which way you need to go. I've encountered there's actually 3 options. One is we've seen the people who inject the foam, the expanded foam under the.
Raise.
This would actually be an ideal one for that one, I think, because if you put the foam right at the front of all those bricks or right at the front of the steps, I think it's going to raise it up and hinge it back up.
Yeah.
To where it's going to put it. So that is a good option for here. Another option is the foundation person. But the thing with the foundation companies, a lot of times that's more expensive because they're driving these rods down
helical piers down and then jacking things up.
They going all the way down till they hit bedrock. Then they're just for this, where for this, I mean, that makes perfect sense when your house is dropping and all. Yeah. It makes sense to me. But on the steps, I personally would rather just tear the steps down, put a footing, and rebuild it.
Yeah.
Because I think you might be able to, you could probably do that less expensive than going in and driving the piers and raising everything down. But honestly, the best thing I would say to do is just get pricing from all 3 of those companies and figure out which way is going to be the best, because you can actually repair it all 3 of those ways.
There was the house I was inspecting yesterday had a concrete slab. It was an elevated patio off the back of the house, so it had a brick perimeter, and then it was a concrete slab. Usually you see them poured over like a corrugated steel form. I don't know what happened with this one. We couldn't access it from under the house. It wasn't it was a backfilled patio.
Right.
We poured the patio, and it completely caved in.
Oh, yeah.
And I wish I had that picture too. But
what do you do with all these pictures?
If I knew this conversation was going to go in this direction. But it was interesting because the buyer said that he had a foundation guy already out to take a look at that, and the foundation guy gave the same exact answer. You know what? We could fix it for you, but it'd be cheaper if you just. I've got a mason that
bust
I
it
work
out
with.
and
who could bust it out and replace it, backfill it for $3,000.
Yeah,
where it would cost me probably twice that.
I honestly, I don't know how many different porches I have repaired in that way. Sometimes we may have to put metal. Sometimes we may there may be enough backfill, but yeah, I don't know how many times I've had to repair porches like that. Just bust it out, fix whatever, make everything solid on the inside, whether it's putting new metal or whatever. It just depends on the situation. And well, I'm throwing them out.
You're killing that word today.
And then just report it because it's less expensive than trying to jack everything up and all that at
Yeah.
any point in time.
It was jacked up.
Yep.
We called Jack Leggett.
Because it's already jacked up.
Yeah. So good question. Good, and it's a good answer too. And a lot of times, folks can see things like cracks and movement, settlement, and a lot of things like that, and get really freaked out. But surprisingly enough, it's not as scary as most people would think.
It can be repaired.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. It's not everything falling apart. It can be repaired.
Yep. You know what else could be repaired?
What's that?
Well, you don't want to repair
What's that?
is frozen pipes.
Oh, no.
That wouldn't be fun. Shane's got some frozen pipe stories. Last week we were talking about the Pimba Effect, and it's the tendency for hot water to actually freeze faster than cold water. You know what? I did not do my experiment, but
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to help you learn where to make sure that your pipes don't burst, where you need to insulate your pipes so you don't run into issues in all this cold weather we've been dealing with. So we're going to get to that, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back from the Home Pros Radio Show, we will have those answers right after this. If you're a home service provider who takes pride in your work and strives to be recognized as a trustworthy professional in your industry, the Home Pros Radio Show wants to hear from you.
Become a Home Pros Radio Show partner. Send us an email at ask@homeprosradio.com.
Your Home Pros Radio Show Expo listing and your featured appearances on our podcast are just the beginning when it comes to the ways that we can help brand your business on the Home Pros Radio Show.
It's a great opportunity. It's just an email away. Ask@homeprosradio.com.
One of the Home Pros Radio Show partners that makes this show possible is Carolina Heating Service. We'd like to invite you to give them a call. They are a near you company. And you know, when your heating and air system breaks down, it usually happens right when you need it, does it not?
Oh, yeah. It's always the worst sometimes.
And that's why Carolina Heating Service came up with the Carolina Comfort Club, where there are two ways to be a member. You have the Comfort Plan and the Comfort Plus Plan. Whichever plan you have, they'll come out to your house at least a couple times a year and make sure everything's running right. You know, at the start of the heating season, at the start of the cooling season, to make sure that you're not hit with any of those
Unforeseen.
inconvenient situations that could pop up with your heating and air system. So give them a call. Here's the number. It's 800-261-0359. You can also find them online at carolinaheating.com. It's Carolina Heating Service. They're a near you company. Thank you for watching the Home Pros Radio Show. And, of course, our show is brought to you from the studios of Prime Lending. It's our Prime Lending studio, right?
They're the big title sponsor.
Yeah, and all of this talk about building and maintaining your home doesn't mean much if you don't have the funding to make it happen. And that's why we like to invite you to call Prime Lending. They got offices all around the country for you, but if you're right here in the South Carolina area, give Mark Hawkins a call. Here's his number. It's 864-349-0160. You know, when it comes to getting the funding you need, Prime Lending makes the process easy and personal. Websites and 800 numbers, man, they can lend you money, but are they going to sit down with you face-to-face and actually give you the products that you need? Because there's so many options.
There's something to be said to be face-to-face with someone instead of just talking to them over the phone or emails or whatever. Yeah, something to be said for that.
Absolutely. So give Prime Lending a call if you're remodeling your home, you're purchasing your dream home, or just need a cash-out refinance. That's another option that they can help you out with and sit down with you face-to-face. 864-349-0160. If you're in upstate South Carolina or South Carolina area, period, give Mark Hawkins a call. And wherever you are in the country, there's a Prime Lending office near you. Of course, with Prime Lending, buying and refinancing your home is simple, fast,
and hassle-free.
That's it. And welcome back to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and I find stuff.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor, and I fix stuff.
This is the Home Pros Radio Show, broadcasting from the Prime Lending Studio. We're glad you're with us. We're talking water pipes, frozen pipes. Mm-hmm. Do you know what your building envelope is? Well, we're going to tell you about that in just a second. But before that, we're going to go to this.
The Closing Contractor Mystery Sound.
Please listen carefully.
If you have an idea of what that noise is, we want to hear from you. Here's the number.
It's 248-466-3776.
That's 248 Home Pro. You can also comment on our social media. It's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. At Home Pros Radio is where you can find us at all those places. We do our best to try to keep up with all those comments, even the mean ones that we get.
They're more fun to respond back than the nice ones.
Yes, so let us know for your chance to win those. And also, if you want some tickets to the Home and Garden Show, the Southern Home and Garden Show this weekend at the Greenville Convention Center, let us know. We've got some for you. Just shoot us a message. You can also email us, ask@homeprosradio.com. As you can see, we have tons of tickets available, as we'll be there all weekend.
Yep, we will be there.
Presentations.
Every bit of it.
Yep.
Another thing you can do is call the number. It's, the 248-466-3776. Call us and leave a message that you want tickets. Name, number of tickets, and we'll get back in touch with you and get them to you somehow.
Do the rest. Absolutely. So let us hear from you. So last week on the show, we were talking about the Pimba Effect. Do you remember what that is?
Yeah, that's Lion King stuff.
No, it's not. That's the wrong answer.
Pimba.
It is the tendency. It is the
it's the hot water freezes faster than
theory
cold water.
that explains that hot water freezes faster than cold water.
Right.
So we were talking about that. So go ahead and check out last week's show for all those details. I
almost did an experiment because of this, but then I realized I was doing it backwards because I didn't know if it was going to work or not. Because I was about to boil some water.
Yeah.
And, of course, I'm sitting there heating up the water to put in the pot to put on the stove because I'm thinking, okay, it'll already be warmer. But then I was sitting there thinking, maybe I should do the reverse. And I'm sure
try
someone
cold
has
water
done it.
and see.
Yeah, try hot and cold water and see which one boils first.
That's a good idea.
But then it would have to be the exact same amount. And I don't have two of the exact same pots. But anyway, I did think about the Pimba Effect.
That's cool.
While I was getting ready to boil some water.
We could have the Pimba Effect and then the Hips Effect.
The Hips Effect.
I think that one's already called for. The Hips Effect. I think I've seen that on.
That sounds pretty fancy.
Yeah, like on YouTube or something. TikTok. The Hips Effect. Yeah, isn't that something that Shakira does?
Yeah. Shakira's representing us.
So let's talk about freezing your pipes. We don't want that to happen in our homes, of course. You've seen some very catastrophic examples.
Yes. Because, we work with a lot of HOAs.
That would be Homeowners Associations of America's.
That's correct. Of America's. That's HOA.
Yeah, that's it.
But we work with
we
work with a lot of HOAs and as well as individuals and everything else. But so a lot of times when things happen at these apartment or condo complexes or townhome complexes, one thing happens to one and it affects others. So then, let me start by saying I'd never read the bylaws for these HOAs because every HOA has different bylaws and who owns what and who's responsible for what. They're all different. So I always tell them, hey, I'm not even wanting to read your bylaws because I don't want to have to try to make a decision on who's responsible for what. Y'all tell me what you want fixed and I'll do it.
You're just there to fix it.
Yeah, I'm here to make the repair and you tell me who's responsible for it. But anyway, so obviously, if it's an HOA situation, a lot of times damage happens in this one and it affects another one.
Yes.
And typically, once it passes that line, it becomes an HOA issue.
Yeah.
Typically. But that's not legal advice, so don't try to go say, hey,
Shane said this. Shane told me.
So, but yeah, a lot of times, and there's two that really stand out in my mind. The first time it happened, the first time I actually saw what had happened was in a kitchen. The kitchen was on an exterior wall in a condo or a townhome, and the sink was under the window, exterior wall, but. And, of course, you don't know this till after all the damage is done, the cabinet's ripped out and everything. But once we got the wall open, ultimately the plumbing pipes were done first during construction. And we've said this over and over. Trades worry about their trade. They don't worry. Pay attention to the job as a whole. And I'm not dogging on tradesmen. I am a tradesman. I mean, so it's not like I'm not dogging on them, but many tradespeople only concentrate on what they are there to do. Yeah. They don't look at the whole job. But you can see the plumbing was done, the supply lines were ran, and then the insulation of the exterior walls thrown up right inside of the plumbing pipes that are going through the walls. And then the drywall was put up.
That essentially put the plumbing lines on the outside of the insulation.
Plumbing was on the outside of the insulation, and now it's not in. And I know we're going to get in this in just a second, but now it's not in the envelope.
Yeah.
So it's not warm. Those pipes are not warmed from the air in the unit, and actually it would actually be more damage that the insulation's right inside them, because now. Even if there was no insulation, it would have had a better chance of not freezing than with the insulation right inside of those pipes, because the only air they're in contact with is the exterior air. They're blocked from the inside air.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it had leaked and messed up everything. But that was the first time I encountered it, and it was like I was like, because up to that point I never really thought about it that much. We always do things the way it's done, but I never really thought so much about
we do things,
about all that.
That's what I always find fascinating. Is it's one thing for us to sit here and memorize building codes and understand how things are done, but do we ever ask why they're done a certain way? And that's kind of what we're going to get into here.
And me personally, if I understand why, I'm going to understand the process. I will remember what I'm supposed to do, because I understand why I'm doing it.
Because if you know that, if you're the contractor and you're like, I got to put insulation in that wall. Why put insulation in that wall and not the one across the room from it?
Correct.
Well, if you know why, then you might
know what
that
walls to put it
insulation
in.
on the other side of the pipes.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
So,
but that was the first time I encountered it. The second time was more tragic than the first time. But the second time it was a set of condos or townhomes. But it was each building had 3 units. The bottom unit was the bottom 2 floors. The 2 top units were two floors, like third and fourth floor.
Yeah.
Bottom unit was ground floor and basement.
Okay.
The 2 top units were second and third floors.
Oh, I can see this. I can see what's coming here.
And there were several buildings, and it doesn't usually get cold here. Not that cold, but this particular year it dropped below freezing for like a week straight. So it was just crazier than what we ever see.
Yeah.
But what had happened once it heated up? This is what we said last week. You don't ever know it when it's frozen. You know it when it thaws back out, because that's when the water starts.
Yeah.
But these particular units, I think there was 6 of the buildings toward the back of the complex. The fire suppression systems in 6 of the buildings busted.
Oh.
So.
And these are, and they're in the ceilings.
Yeah, so you got water pipes.
Everything's going down from the ceiling.
So you got the top floor, next floor, next floor, next floor, and it made it all the way down to the bottom in several of the units. So the challenging part there was now we have to, coordinate everything with 18 different homeowners, because there's 6 buildings, 3 owners in each building, But what ended up happening there was same principle except in the attic, because they had the insulation laying right on top of the drywall. Then the fire suppression system was on top of it, and then it was close to the eave or the what's the word I'm looking for? Not the
eave vents,
not the eaves, just soffit.
Soffit.
Yeah. I was thinking, but basically with it being cold that long, you had the
current, you had
the air coming in there, and it had frozen those pipes. And so eventually what we had to do there is go back and create, like a tent system to be able to keep all of that in the heated envelope to where it wouldn't freeze again.
So what do you mean by the building envelope? Well, we have some diagrams to show you, courtesy of there's the Pimba Effect. I already explained those things. From the Building Performance Institute. What we have is a photo behind us for those of you or watching or listening to the podcast. You can catch the video on YouTube and Facebook Live. We have a diagram of a house, and what we have done is basically they've highlighted the building envelope. That's basically the shell of your house, the perimeter of your house. That would be the roof, the exterior walls, the foundation, and that's what we're talking about when you were mentioning the building envelope. Mm-hmm. That's what we're referring to. Is now that's the shell of the home. Okay, the building envelope is part of any building that creates a boundary between the indoor and outdoor space. That's the foundation, the roof, exterior walls, attached porch, all those things.
Right.
Now, inside the building envelope, we have two other spaces.
Okay.
We have conditioned space.
Yep.
That's the space that we live in, that we heat and cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have unconditioned space. That would be attics, like you were talking about, crawl spaces or basements.
Garage.
Garage is another good example. We're not so concerned about heating and cooling in those areas. So we essentially, within the building envelope, we have two different environments that we're trying to maintain, or at least be aware of. And the threshold, the barrier between the conditioned and unconditioned space is considered the thermal boundary. And all along the thermal boundary is where we put our insulation.
Correct.
Which is what we were just discussing. So moving forward with the illustrations, this might be something that'd be worth covering for the home show.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't catch this. But in the next image, what we have is a breakdown of the differences between your conditioned space and your unconditioned space. The places like your attic and your basement and that cavity under the front porch of the crawl space.
Right.
The B's, labeled B, are your unconditioned spaces. Your conditioned spaces are the A's. That's the bathroom and the living room and the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So that red line that separates the two is what's called your thermal barrier.
Correct.
And or the thermal boundary. So this is where you insulate. And this is also where you want to really be careful of any building products or I should say building systems that you install in those areas. Most importantly, your plumbing lines.
Right.
And this is where we want to insulate our lines. If we have any plumbing lines that are in the B areas, we want to insulate them. Even if we have them along the exterior portions of the A areas, like the kitchen that we were talking about.
If they're outside of the A.
Yeah.
Period.
So we want to insulate them to prevent the potential for pipes to freeze because water expands and then can burst our pipes.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the areas. Now, what if we went ahead and finished that B area down there in the basement? That's what the next diagram. It becomes an A, exactly.
Yep.
So that expands in the next diagram that we have.
Oh, okay.
I
was even thinking about mentioning that before somebody comes and says, "Wait a minute, well, if you finish the basement, it's different."
So yeah, and that's why, and that has everything to do. We kind of talked about it with how it affects radon and things like that.
Right.
But that's not only. All these things that affect air movement around your house. It's critical to understand how all of that works. So now, how do we insulate our pipes? I see it a lot of times when folks will add like a utility sink to a garage, and they run pipes out, and they don't even think about, especially in our area, insulating those pipes.
Right.
There are areas in basements that are going to water heaters and things like that. And actually, insulating your pipes not only will help prevent your pipes from freezing, but it'll help with efficiency too, especially on the hot water side.
Yeah, it keeps that water coming to you. And you might not have to wait as long whenever you turn your water.
Yeah.
Turn on your hot water at the fixture across the house from your water heater next time. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of that water in the pipe's already warm. So you don't feel like you're waiting there for a couple minutes before it gets warm.
Yeah. And that's an upgrade you can do in your house very easily. So kind of determine where are your conditioned spaces, where are your unconditioned spaces, and think, do we have any water lines and things like that that might not be protected? I've seen it where a bathroom has been renovated, and when they put in one of the new trendy things that we see in showers these days, the waterfall shower thing, whatever it's called, the rain shower, whatever. So they have to run the water pipe up through the attic so it drops down through the ceiling, and they forget to insulate those pipes. You might have an attic a water heater in an attic or crawl space. So keep those in mind. Look around your house and see if you have any of those areas. How do we insulate? Well, we've got some materials there. There are a couple different types of pipe insulation to use. The upper one, the foam, the plastic foam, is probably the cheapest and easiest way. Some of them actually, where you see that seam, they actually have an adhesive that you just peel right off, and you just put right on the pipes, and you can just cut with a box cutter the length that you need it and all that good stuff. The bottom insulation that you see there is it's meant for, it's basically it's a pipe sleeve with polyethylene or neoprene foam with a wrap around it, and that type of insulation is used for pipes that are close to flammable locations.
Gotcha.
So let's say you have a water heater that's a gas water heater, and you've got your flue coming up the top of it, and then you have water lines that are coming in and connecting to your water heater. This is an example that they use at the energy.gov website where I got these images. If your water pipes are within 8 inches of that flue, then you're going to want to use the higher rated stuff that'll help prevent things from catching fire.
Right.
That'll melt the foam and all that stuff. So, and other locations like that. So that's another thing to consider when you're installing pipe insulation is, all right, am I close to anything hot? I want to put the right insulation on, which can be done easily with the cord you see, the wire that you see there, or the tape. So that's really the easiest way to take care of it. Insulate those pipes, keep them from bursting this winter.
Absolutely.
And we don't want any surprises.
That's never fun. The snow finally goes away, so we're finally ready to go get back at it, and then you see water dumping out of your house.
You think you're fine all winter, and then everything starts to thaw.
Then all of a sudden,
Not good.
It's like, oh.
Yeah. So I hope that helps as we plug on through the winter. Check those pipes. Make sure you're protected. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're visiting the Home Pros Radio Show News Desk. Thanks for watching the Home Pros Radio Show. Shane and I would love to know what you think of the show, so we'd like to invite you to leave us a review.
At the Home Pros Radio Show, it's our goal to keep homeowners entertained, inspired, and informed. So let us know how we're doing.
Your review helps us ensure that we're including the content you want to hear and that we're reaching out to more homeowners just like you.
So click on that review button and tell us what you think.
Your relationship with your home is an emotional one. Your home provides a sense of pride for you and your family. Through ongoing training, past experience, and current technology, RIC Home Inspections can provide you with the most reliable and accurate information available so you can enjoy the rewards of your home ownership. Call RIC Home Inspections at 235-5505 or visit us online at richomeinspections.com. That's 235-5505. RIC Home Inspections. Love where you live.
Every week, the Home Pros Radio Show News Desk is brought to you by Pro Carpet Repairs. Pro Carpet Repairs offers a wide variety of cleaning service, carpet care services, all kinds of things for your flooring in your house. So if you're a landlord, if you're looking to sell your home, or you're just simply a homeowner who needs to revamp the look and feel of your carpeting, Pro Carpet Repairs, Adam and Samantha Prohl, the owners, can provide the service that you need, whether it's damaged carpeting that needs to be.
I always like to concentrate on the repairs.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the name.
Carpet protection, carpet stretching.
Yeah.
No
They do
need
all kind of stuff.
Yeah, no need to rip everything out and replace it. Just give Adam and Samantha Prohl a call, and they'll come out and revamp it. Here's a number, 864-569-9366. You can also find them online at procarpetrepairs.com. The Home Pros Radio Show is brought to you in part by Screen Mobile of the Piedmont. Established in 1982, Screen Mobile National has been around that long, and they're the nation's largest screen installation and repair company. They offer many different options for windows, screens, whether it's a corporate location or even a home residential location. They can bring their mobile units out to you and repair your screens, replace them, or even create a whole outdoor environment that you can use to keep the bugs out with their screens.
I've always been impressed with the tent one, the one
Yeah.
that keeps your siding from melting or your neighbor's siding from melting.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's saying tint with an I to help cool things down. Yeah, for those of you who are not in the
Not from
South.
South Carolina.
Exactly, and that'll protect some of your outdoor building products like your siding from melting. That's a good point. I never
It's
even
not
thought
always a
about that.
grill. It can't be a window.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So give Screen Mobile a call. There's a Screen Mobile in your area. You can visit them online at screenmobile.com. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina, call Screen Mobile of the Piedmont, 864-641-7476. And welcome back to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan.
And I'm Shane Hips with
I'm
Closing
with
Contractor.
I'm with RIC Home Inspections. And he's with Closing Contractor.
And we're here.
And this is home improvement like you've never heard before, especially if you've never heard this.
The Closing Contractor Mystery Sound.
Please listen carefully.
We'd like to hear from you if you've heard this before. If you know what it is, give us a call. Here's the number.
It's 248-466-3776.
All right. It's also for those who have a hard time spelling offense. That means 248 Home Pro.
248
Now let's visit
Home Pro.
the Home Pros Radio Show. All right. So we were talking about pipes.
Yes.
Well, we had some pipes that are stolen.
Oh boy.
Yeah, in New York City. New York City. An off-Broadway play appropriately titled The Perfect Crime had to cancel some performances due to a real crime. Someone stole the copper pipes from the theater's basement. Man, it's just nuts. It's going nuts up there.
Cost of copper is up. Hey.
Catherine Russell, she's the general manager of the Theater Center on West 50th Street in New York City, is also the lead actress in A Perfect Crime, discovered something was wrong when the water heater wasn't working. Yeah, Russell said she went into the building's basement, turned the water on, and things started flooding. So I guess it's a boiler that they have there.
Yeah.
So, and you can see the new copper pipe there. Wow. This story came to us from WLNY TV. Russell found a door in the basement that had been shattered and bullet casings on the floor. They must have blown up the door. Man.
They came in with guns and players
Jeez.
to steal some copper.
It's a perfect crime. She said security cameras captured another attempted break-in a couple days afterwards. Someone was trying to kick open the front door. It's nuts up there, I'm telling you. Get out of New York. No, the theater had canceled about 12 performances of their 2 shows. They had 2 shows there, Perfect Crime and one that my daughter would love to see. Claire, how about The Office, a musical parody? Oh, yeah, baby. That would be fun. The police haven't made any arrests in the theft. Repairs cost about $20,000. They must have got out with a lot of copper.
But I think the crooks don't realize for the little bit of money they're getting how much damage they actually cost the people who own it.
Yeah.
Because of the time. Because I see it with plumbing, but what's even worse is if they do it with electrical wire.
Yeah.
Because all the things that have to be figured out. With plumbing, you pretty much know where this pipe was going.
That's true.
Electrical, you go under a house and start cutting all the wire out. The electrician has to figure everything out, where every wire goes. Was that a 3-way switch? Was it a traveler?
Yeah.
Was it a switch leg? Was it a hot? Which ones were on the same circuit? With electrical, a lot of times it may be easier just to rip everything out, just do it again.
Yeah.
But the thing is, usually when they do this, the drywall's already up. So you can't just do it again without ripping all the drywall back down and all. So, but yeah, the crooks don't really realize how much. Well, they may realize it, but they just don't care. They don't care.
And it's amazing what they'll do for just a little cash.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, the good thing is Catherine Russell says that there is a happy ending in this story. She got a weekend off and better piping and better security out of the deal.
Good for her.
So, hopefully, at this point, I believe that they're up and running again. But, total inconvenience for some folks who just want to make a little change. I had an experience like that where I showed up at an inspection and there was no power, and the agent was like, Duke Power came by and put a meter in. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm not getting power anywhere.
Right.
And then I looked under the house, and everything had been snipped away. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a lot of work.
It is. Just go get a job. There's all kind of people hired.
Yeah.
I know. We can't find enough people right now. So, if you really want the money, just come on. Give me a call. You can even call the Home Pros number. Call the 248-466-3776 number, and I'll talk to you about it.
On a lighter note, we moved to Ohio, a house in Kirtland Hills, 6 bedrooms, 8 baths. It's a really nice house.
It is a nice house.
Look at that lawn. I'd like to go lay down in that grass.
Yeah.
Listing agent Jennifer Black is a realtor with Howard Hanna Real Estate. She has this house listed. So it's catching a lot of attention, not because of its size or the number of its bedrooms and bathrooms. It's because inside the house they have an exact replica of the Oval Office.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, current owners are history buffs who were looking for a clever way to use the space that they had. The couple visited other replicas and incorporated elements from multiple presidents. The project took them several years to complete. The owner calls it the finest Oval Office in a private residence. So what they had is this dome shape area up on the 3rd floor of their house that they didn't know what to do with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's actually a room within a room. The windows look out. The windows that you see there are actually looking out the attic. Go back to the front elevation. I'd like to figure out where that is.
Good luck figuring that out.
It must look out the back windows.
It could. I don't know.
Interesting. There's already a large home office on the 1st floor, so it's not. They don't use it for working. The upstairs Oval Office is used for entertaining guests and hosting business meetings.
And taking pictures.
Yeah.
Everybody takes selfies.
Yeah. I was at the White House.
Look where I went this weekend.
Yeah. The property, which also comes with an in-ground pool, game room, and an elevator, is currently listed. These houses, I want to know what people do for a living. $1.85 million. That's pretty steep.
What state was that in?
Ohio.
Okay.
Ohio. Round in the ends and high in the middle.
Yep, that's right.
Ohio.
Yep.
Yeah. So how about we keep moving west to Idaho? Idaho. Yeah, Idaho. Idaho. We're in Idaho, where a family bought a mid-century modern home and found a surprise during their renovation. They bought the home last year knowing it was a fixer-upper, and they started removing. There was a room in the house that had shingles all along one wall of the room.
Okay.
It felt like it was odd, like roofing shingles.
Like asphalt?
Asphalt shingles.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
they found, so they were like, take these down. And so they're taking the shingles down, and they found almost 1,600 baseball cards underneath. Glued to the wall.
So they were just glued to the wall.
Glued to the wall.
Huh.
Those cards belong to Chris Nelson, whose family owned the home previously. He said at one point in the late 80s, that was when I was collecting baseball cards, in the late 80s.
Yeah.
You're going to die when you hear this. Late 80s. He had between 10,000 and 15,000 baseball cards in the collection, including Greg Maddux. Mm-hmm. They glue Greg Maddux rookie card to the wall, you nuts?
Well, kids used to glue them to walls, put them in the tires of the bicycle spokes to make the noise. I mean,
that's why baseball cards are worth so much these days, because we do stupid stuff to them. Willie Hernandez, Jim Akers, Dave Revering, Jack Lazorko, Tom Niedenfuhr, and Bob Horner.
There you go. Bob Horner.
Atlanta Brave. Another classic Brave. Mm-hmm. He said, we just had all these cards, and my mom was like, well, why don't we do this? So they did it, and they spent a weekend gluing baseball cards to the wall, and they were the focal point for the room, and then eventually, for some reason, he says they decided to cover the wall with shingles.
Hey, they had shingles.
Yeah. So the Brauts who actually live there now, don't you think a family named the Brauts? Don't you think they should live in Wisconsin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live in Wisconsin and
The Brauts
hang out at the ball field.
says they're that they're not sure what they're going to do. What they're going to put in the place, but here's the catch. This is kind of cool. They are actually offering the entire wall for sale. You can buy it if you want.
Okay. You can't read the stats on the back of the cards.
I wonder if there are any takers yet. They said send us an email if you're interested. Their email is the208@ktvb.com. So
There you go.
maybe we can reach out to them, find out if it's sold yet, and find out the latest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's interesting.
That is very interesting. And that also, oh, wait, no, it doesn't. Wait, before we go on to, this is something that actually came up in a conversation that I, in another venue, because we were talking baseball cards. And I learned about, there are all kinds of different sports things that, you take photos and stuff and you find stuff after the fact. Like you take a picture of something and you find, the picture of the Billy Ripken baseball card. Y'all familiar with this one? Y'all heard about Billy Ripken's card? It was a Fleer card from what year? Do we know what year?
It doesn't say it on the front of it, so I don't know what year it was.
So it's one of those things where they took the card, they took the picture. The photographer probably was like, I always wondered how they do these. Like, is this like before a game? And they're like, hey, and they line everybody up one
grab
at
a
a
bat
time.
right quick.
Yeah, grab a bat right quick. And he just doesn't think about it. And then you've got, so Billy Ripken's holding his bat, and I wonder how long it took them to realize that he has the F word written on the bottom of his bat.
It probably took a little while. It's an interesting nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny the nicknames you get on ball fields at times.
Yeah. Did you have a nickname when you played?
I had many nicknames.
Did you?
I mean, honestly, it's pretty common to just get called a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I was called everything from swivel hips to deuces to curly to, I had all kinds of names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was 22, so that's the deuces. The swivel hips was just...
You were 22, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the number that my kids use. Like my son plays football, number 22. His sister had it.
Right.
So, but yeah. What else was I going to say about this?
Oh, you want to go to the next one where you can see
there you
it?
go. You can see it closer.
Oh, if you want to see what it says, you were
I
nice
wonder
enough to
if
star it out so you can't actually...
It makes you wonder if somebody lost their job over that or something. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it actually got as far as to go into press.
But what's funny is that it's quite possible this wasn't intentional. It's quite possible this was somebody's
Yeah, he just went over-
somebody's nickname
Exactly.
and he grabbed the bat and threw it over. It's like...
Or it could have been the
Nice
nickname
name.
for his bat. It may not even been his bat. It's just like we were talking about. It could have been like, grab a bat and take a picture. All right, sure. All right, good. All right. And then they go. So, but I just think that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I heard that came up in conversation is the Sports Illustrated cover with Jim Kick and Larry Zonka. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think so.
I should have pulled that one up and shared it. The two of them are leaning up against goalpost, or one of them sitting down, and I think it's Larry Zonka's. I don't know. This is from 1970. What cover is this? 1970 something. 1972. So it was before we were born.
Correct.
But I believe it's Zonka's sitting down. He's got 1 foot over he's resting his 1 foot across his knee, and then he's got his hand out while he's shooting the bird.
Oh.
And nobody caught that either.
Yeah.
And that got on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of times people mean to do it, but
I'm sure they meant to do it in this
sometimes it's
photo.
accidental.
Yeah. It's just funny how things don't get caught.
Uh-huh.
So,
Slide right through the cracks.
just naive, well-meaning people getting taken advantage of.
That's
Sad.
right.
So that concludes this week's edition of our Homebrews Radio Show News Update. That's it. So now it's time to move. If y'all find any stories or anything you'd like to share in the Newswire, send it to ask@homeprosradio.com. All right, so now let's talk about what we learned today on the show. Brought to you by RIC Home Inspections, where we help you learn about your house. That's what home inspectors do. What did we learn on the show? Sonic, tell us. Well, first thing we learned is that anything can be fixed.
Yes, absolutely.
If you got a settling stoop, don't worry about going to as far. In most cases, is calling the foundation guy.
Yeah, it's definitely not worth turning around and run away from the house, especially in this market. If you find one you like and it's there, don't let that kill it.
Can be done. Like that patio
fixed.
that was so scary the other day. They said $3,000. Mason can do it. Wow, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm. People are offering well over $3,000 over asking price on houses right now. So it was $3,000
one before the show today.
It's like all over the place. It's like everyone's going well above to get what they want.
Mm-hmm. My parents are getting ready to sell their house, and they think it's not going to sell.
Oh, it's going to sell.
Smoking.
It's going to sell.
I hope it sells. Shut up. No,
Come on now.
We also learned that settling porches and patios can easily be fixed by a brick mason. Well, not easily. It's going to be hard work, but for them. But their expertise. No need to go to the extent. If it's, you need a foundation expert if you're dealing with the foundation of your home. But in this case,
all the exterior stuff, usually you can do it in less expensive ways.
Yep. We also learned that we learned the difference between our building envelope in our house and then our thermal barrier, which is actually where we want to insulate all around our thermal barrier. It separates our non-conditioned space from our conditioned space, and that's where we want to insulate our pipes, keep them from freezing. So make sure you do that. You might want to check now before the winter's over. Make sure you don't run into any fountains or geysers once the spring arrives.
Yeah, like one of the groundhogs saw his shadow or didn't see his shadow or whatever. It's supposed to be a longer.
He saw a shadow, which
didn't
means
one of them
6 more
die?
weeks. No, well, Bill de Blasio killed one of them.
I really didn't know.
The one in New York, he dropped him and he died.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Like dropped him on his head or something?
yeah. There's video of it. He dropped him. Oops. And then he died a few days later.
I just heard different stuff. It's like, okay, what happened to the groundhog?
Punxsutawney Phil is doing well, though.
He's still doing just fine. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, he is. So that's another thing we learned on the show today. But Punxsutawney Phil is doing well.
He's doing just fine. Yes.
We also learned that Billy Ripken has a really funny baseball card. But we learned that, hey, you need to protect your pipes not only from freezing but from thieves.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you've got some extra attic space in your house, turn it into an Oval Office or something like that. Maybe that'll work. All right, so
I got another thing that just a thought. If you insulate your pipes, maybe the thieves won't even know they're copper. They may think they're PVC or something.
that's a good point. See, another thing we learned today.
Yeah, it camouflages them.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You seal them up, make it not worth their while.
Absolutely.
To dig into them. So before we leave, we've got one last thing we want to share. It's our photo from the field for next week.
What are you looking at?
Oh,
I know what I'm doing.
speaking of bricks,
What they got going on there?
interesting brick job there. Is that a problem, or is it something that needs to be fixed, or is it fine? We'll get into that next week on the show. If you have any comments about it or even any questions, go ahead and we're going to go ahead and share the photo. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you think. Especially
go ahead and
brick
call us?
masons and such out there. Yeah.
Yep.
You want to give the numbers?
Yep, 248-466-3776.
You can also comment on all of our social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. At Home Pros Radio is where you can find us. Let's hear from you. Thanks for watching us, and we'll catch you next week on the Home Pros Radio Show.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can also catch our podcast episodes and learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. The Home Pros Radio Show is made possible by Prime Lending, RIC Home Inspections, Closing Contractor, Radon Recon, and Carolina Heating Service. If you are a trusted service provider in our area and would like to contribute to the show, send us a message through our Contact Us page at homeprosradio.com. Once again, thanks for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show.